Short-term missions is one of the most profound ways to knit someone's heart in North America to somewhere else in the world.
I had set up the trip a couple of months ago, and what we were going to be doing was some construction work and mostly leading worship, leading Bible studies and cooking food and that sort of thing. But we didn't have anybody signed up, and then the people who wound up coming on the trip were 6 members of our worship team, and I think we must have had, I'm going to say 7 or 8 different opportunities to be able to lead worship or to just sing in the streets or whatever.
The travel was terrible. You know, everybody had a little bit of stress from it, but we didn't end up getting on each other's nerves. We kept things calm, we prayed, we asked God, and we realized there's nothing more that we can do because it's under His control.
God was good. It was kind of a harried time, frustrating in that day and a half, but once we got there and, you know, we're involved in what we were doing, that kind of faded into the background.
We got there and Young Tae just hugged every one of us. He was so excited that we were there. And that started it all off, and it didn't diminish throughout the whole time we were there.
Well, I think the one thing in the Greek experience for me is Young Tae. He has a servant's heart. He just gives up his normal life and then becomes everybody's servant. He is so humble. He's an amazing, amazing man. One of the 2 most inspiring men that I've ever met.
So we take the metro to the center, and we just right into it. We started serving 250 people right away. We didn't have time to even breathe, and it was just like, we're right there.
The first thing I noticed when we got into the center was that the ministry had grown spiritually. I'd been praying for him since we were there 3 years ago, that people would come alongside, that some of these refugees would become firm believers, and it happened, which was a great boost to my prayer life.
For the patching of the walls and things, we actually bought tools while we were there. And on the way home, I left the hacksaw there, and I left a couple of screwdrivers in there. But we bought what we needed, and I figured if he ever had anything he needed to do, he'd have a few tools to work with.
Where are we now?
No, in paradise. You left the paradise.
It's different than here. We take our cars, you know, we're so independent. You see so many people walking there, taking the metro, taking a bus. The crowds are just incredible. And you know that so few of those people really have a relationship with Jesus.
A lot of people here think Athens is a vacation spot. I know it is a vacation spot, I guess, if you go to the islands and so on. I think of Athens as a very needy place physically for those refugees, but also spiritually, because almost nobody in Athens is a born-again Christian. I think 1/2 of 1% or something like that. The non-Christians think of the Christians as a cult, and so it's kind of reversed.
Short-term missions is one tool, one avenue, one vehicle to plug people into a world view that has the globe in perspective. We live an isolated life in North America. We're pretty much unicultural, one language. We can isolate ourselves from different people groups that even live in our midst and not have to interact with them. And I think it's absolutely critical that as North American believers that we have a heart for the world, that we have a passion for the world, that we take our great blessing as great responsibility to resource the world, to care for the world, to proclaim the gospel throughout the world.
There's such a huge influx now of refugees into Greece, from Turkey, from Iran, from Iraq, from Afghanistan. They've left their comfort levels, they've left their homes, and those people are searching.
There was, at one point, Young Tay took us to where some men from the Sudan lived. It was the refugees' home. We walk through there, the streets of Athens, but we get to this place and Young Tay says to us to wait outside. He's gonna go in, and so he did. He comes back out a few minutes later and says, okay, come on. And here I'm expecting to see a house, and you walk in a door, open a door. Well, there was no roof on one part of it. They have no running water, no electricity, no door. They sleep on little mats. There's no toilet, there's no stove. They were cooking their rice in a fire just right in the yard, the patio area. And these men, they welcomed us.
If people go and they see and they touch and they smell and they experience, they come back with an excitement for what God is doing worldwide. As far as I'm concerned, that is worth 1,000 sermons.
I believed all of the Bible stories. And I knew that Jesus was God, and I knew He died on the cross. But I did not feel it in my heart.
Because our heart is for all of Greece to know Christ. Yes. We're hoping many Greeks will have a testimony like Maria.
It changes the way you view your own life, the way you view your purpose, the way you view the church, the way you view the world. And I think that it changes all of those things to be more in line with the way God views the church, the way God views the world, the way God views our purpose.
So we obeyed God and moved, and God gave us many friends that are very much like family.
ولی برای ما خیلی سخت بود. ولی ما از خداوند اطاعت کردیم و خداوند به ما راه‌های روشن و برکاتش را به ما ارزانی داد.
Being able to allow folks from our congregation to go and experience that, it multiplies itself in passion, even in the local congregation.
Yes, I would do another missions trip. That has become a pattern of life for us. We plan for this. I save vacation for that. In fact, for this trip to Greece, I used the remainder of last year's vacation. Just because I saved it. I knew that eventually there was going to be another mission trip, and I was intending to do it if it came up.
The other places I've been, we were more concerned with a work project, and so much of your time is spent doing that. I think in Athens, I spent more time developing relationships. I probably won't ever see the men that we spent time with, but knowing that we were able to touch their lives a little bit and knowing that God knows where they are. And it makes me think again how much I've been given, how much I have that I take for granted, and how little they have, and yet God loves them just as much, you know? And I think how much more is required of me because of what I have.
The thing that really struck me was the encouragement we gave to Youngtae to help with the meals, to move the stove, teach the English classes. I could see him light up. I could just see him glow. God answered a prayer by sending us over there.
In 1 week, I heard the praise of God in 6 different languages. Another time, some gals from the Russian church that meets in that center were there for a couple of hours practicing their music for leading praise and worship in Russian. And then at the end, they started humming this tune that we knew in English, and we started singing along with them. Another time, Youngtae sang in Korean to us and for us, and it was How Great Thou Art, and we just couldn't help it. We joined in and sang it in English along with him. To be where Paul was on his missionary journeys, where he spoke these amazing sermons, to have this connection with believers all over, to have this sense that God is so great, and to get the vision that someday people from every language, from every nation, from every, possible group, throughout all history as well, makes me really look forward to the time when we're all going to be worshiping together.